Welcome back to Hangar Garage and the Ranger. Since last time I've cleaned up the block and I've cleaned up the head, got a new head gasket sitting on there. I put everything back together on the head and fingers crossed that it'll stay there. We're going to try and avoid limiter from now on. The issue is that the camshaft is severely worn down and normally you'd replace that, but we're just not going to. And I put a new oil filter on there also because it's very convenient to get to with the cylinder head off. And now it's time to throw everything back together, and first step is putting the head onto the block. And then the head bolts go in, and then they get tightened, and then they get torqued down. Next step is the exhaust manifold, and then the most fun one of them all, the timing belt. And just like that, the Ranger is back together. So really not a whole lot has actually changed in this engine bay. Basically, I just put the rocker arm back on, spilled a whole bunch of oil all over the engine as I was filling it. I had a new positive battery terminal. It's really custom. And then a new exhaust manifold gasket and valve cover gasket, and spark plugs and wires, and new air filter and new fuel filter. And there was a few of these hoses that were cracked, so I replaced some of those. But it is now time to see if it will run, and hopefully it runs on 4 cylinders. Well, that just fired right up. And the idles come down. Now it's time to check the timing. Looks okay. Not great, but okay. And with the coolant bleeding and all of the oil that is spilled all over the headers burning off, it's getting close to test drive time. And here we go. Wow, it is... not happy. Okay. Going well. How about now? Okay, I think it might be fuel issue because when I prime it, never mind. Okay. What about 3 primes? Yeah. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah. Oh. Aha! It's good as new. Something is running so well just a bit ago. There we go. Oh, she's mint. Something's wrong. Let's give it a hill, see how it likes that. It doesn't like it. This is unfortunate. Oh man. All right. Yeah. Power. So the first test drive went terrible, and the shifter has decided that it's going to be really sloppy now. Something came apart in there. It's also got a trail of oil behind it, so that's pretty cool. As you can see up here, I'm gonna have to look at that. Got the Ranger inside and lifted up off the ground. First thing I'm looking at is the massive oil leak, and I do believe I have found it. I know it's kind of hard to see, but where the oil dipstick goes into the block, somewhere up there, it's pouring out. And bring it back just a little more. That is the shifter on the top of the transmission, and it doesn't look correct. Let's see what is underneath the shifter. That looks okay. That doesn't. What are you? I figured out those parts go in the shifter. That spring right there stops it from doing that. And even though I said this looks good, I was incorrect. There is no shifter bushing on there or in there. But I have made one by cutting the tip of my welder in half. So the welder tip goes in there, fits surprisingly well, and then this should drop into there. I did have to cut up the bushing a little bit, and the precision has not returned, but the functionality has. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the problem. That shouldn't be there. So I elected to give up and leave the reverse spring on the floor over there. So we have a completely unprecise first, second, third, fourth, and then fifth and reverse we're going to have to be very delicate with. I think that's reverse, and that's fifth. But if we go any farther, then it just becomes a blender, which is not ideal. Should be able to pop it back on if I just throw it around a bunch. Like that. Not ideal, but functional. Moving on from the shifter to address the massive oil leak. I found that the dipstick tube was split almost all the way through, and it just kind of came right off. So what I did is I put some sealant on a bolt and put it in there. So fingers crossed that that holds. And the next issue is that it runs terribly. I pulled a fuel filter and checked that, and it looks okay. But after a little while, I believe I figured out the problem, and I think it has to do with the EGR valve. It was quite broken, so I welded it back together. EGR valve is completely blocked off. Now I'm gonna back it out, and fingers crossed that fixed it. And okay. Crap. That's kind of promising. Still doesn't like to idle, but it's doing way better. That's foot to the floor. I think that was the main issue. So this is way better, but when I push the clutch in, oh, now it has decided to idle again. Of course, every time I did that before, it just died. Make up your mind, little truck. And this thing is running like a dream now. I bumped the idle up just a little bit with that screw right there, and it has stopped puking oil out of the oil pan. That is good. And with that, this absolute garbage heap of a vehicle is ready for the weekend. This thing made it through the last cheap car challenge, just barely, didn't win, but it is time for its redemption run.